I hear this morning's title got a little bit of a laugh in the meditation. For those of you who didn't hear it or didn't read it, it's getting better because we ain't dead yet. A couple of weeks ago, I was with my cousins up in Butte Meadows camping. And after we had made a fishing excursion and we're back cleaning the fish and doing what we typically do, I did something wrong. And I can't remember even to this day what it was. But having lived alone for as long as I have, I often express my feelings out loud. What did you do that for, Eileen, you stupid idiot? And my cousin looked at me, who is about 30 years my junior, and said, "Nice way to talk to yourself, Eileen." I must admit that I felt a little bit embarrassed being caught in self-deprecating talk. I know that I'm not the only one who has self-comments like that, that we say either out loud or mentally to ourselves. Name some of the statements that you make to yourself. I'm sorry, what? That was dumb. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. You're an idiot. I did it again? I what? I swear. Anything else? What'd you do that for? And that probably is followed with dummy or stupid, right? That seems to be a big word. How many of you were raised in a church or attended a church as an adult where you regularly heard the words redeem, redemption, or repent? Yeah, quite a few of you. What did you gather from those words based upon what you heard were the definitions of those words? What did you, yes? There's something wrong with me. You're a sinner. Flogged. Forgiveness is out there somewhere. Out there. It's not here, it's out there somewhere. Anything else that you heard or that you learned from that? Beg pardon? You don't belong. Yeah, those are ingrained in us by a spirituality, and it's so unhealthy. Let me give you another definition or another perspective of those words. In Greek, metanoia, which means repent, says a profound, usually spiritual transformation or a fundamental change of mind. The word in Greek, exariono, means to free from distress or harm or overcome something detrimental, to restore or repair. Notice how those are positive definitions that are given for those words, not negative, not downers, not something that puts you down individually. They are moving us from the negative to the positive. Author, Reverend Nadia Bowles-Weber, says it means to snap out of it. As she puts it, it means to think new thoughts. It's like a form of brain spackle to fill in the deeply worn neural grooves in our brains where harmful thoughts have funneled through over and over and over again. My guess, each of us has a groove or two in our brain from statements we've made to ourselves over time, over and over again. Maybe it's something like, "I'm not good enough." Or how about when you get out of the shower and you're standing there and your sweet nothing's looking in the mirror, you say, "Oh God, you're fat." Or "I'm not lovable." And then there's always the one about being dumb or stupid that we've heard quite a bit. These are just a few examples of how we talk to ourselves. And what I want you to know is our thoughts are killing us because they're negative affirmations of who we are. You see, each of us has an inner accuser whose sole purpose is to shame us. Brené Brown states, shame is destructive. Shame erodes our courage and fuels disengagement. Debbie Ford, who did a lot of shadow work, indicates an exciting and inspiring future awaits you beyond the noise in your mind, beyond the guilt, the doubt, the fear, the shame, insecurity, and heaviness of the past that you carry around with you. While we may believe or think we are all wrong, we need to remember that nobody ever becomes their ideal self. Nobody ever. With the inner accuser mentally pointing a finger at each and every one of us, we think we are all wrong. We doubt ourselves and our abilities in life. And for most of us, we have carried these beliefs for ever so long. In the 1950s, it was the custom or the process within the Chico Unified School District that during the 6th grade, the school psychologist would come in and administer an IQ test to all 6th graders. It was a 2-day process. And his son, the psychologist from Chico State, his son was best friends with my brother. And the two of them were always in accelerated classes at Chico High. In fact, my brother was in the top 10 students. He was kind of a smart dude, you might say. And when they gave us our first break on the very first day, I went running outside to introduce myself to the psychologist because I wanted him to know I was Kenny Brownell's sister. And so I went running out and I said, Dr. Nunes, you know my big brother Kenny. And without missing a beat, he looked at me and said, what you have to realize is you will never, ever be as smart as your brother. Beginning that school year and continuing on through college, there was never a quarter or a semester where I did not have a D or an F on my report card. Offhand comments and well-meaning statements by family, friends, strangers are often carried mentally for a lifetime. Often these thoughts are carried in our subconscious, which rises up when we least expect it to show up in our life. Television, radio, magazine ads embed lists of perceived needs for our minds to stay there for years. We convince ourselves we need to be thinner, we need to be richer, we need to be smarter. We just to name a few of the qualities that we think we need to gain. And those are the grooves that Nadia talked about that need a little spackle right now. And that spackle is a lot of self-love and compassion. For the sake of understanding, let's consider our mind a thought machine. This machine makes sense of what is perceived from outside sources such as the ads, the commercials, the comments, the celebrities, the childhood experiences that we have had. Our thoughts emerge from the environment as well as the perceptions that we have of what is going on in our environment. Our thoughts can be conscious or unconscious. And I believe that the unconscious ones are the things that are the most dangerous, since they are like a looped tape that never stops playing. It just keeps going on and on within. Our thought process plays a significant role in what we think about ourselves as well as the judgments that we make of others. If we have developed a positive thought process, then we're going to think positively. These thoughts are constructive and have a positive impact on the things that we do, the things that we achieve, that which we try to do with our lives. If we've developed a negative thought process, our minds are filled with obsessed and negative thoughts and feelings and emotions. These thoughts also make a large part of our self-reflection and the formation of our self-concept and our self-image. They also affect our self-knowledge, awareness, and our love. Our thoughts determine if we have positive self-esteem or a negative self-esteem. Just what Are these negative thought processes that create unfriendly, stressing, and depressing thoughts? What are these thought processes that force us into negative self-talk and self-reflection? What are these thought processes that make us self-conscious? The Very Well Mind on the web provided a partial list for us to think about. First, there's personalizing. We blame ourselves for everything. Then we might magnify something where we focus only on the negative aspects of a situation, ignoring everything else, no matter how good it is. Then there's catastrophizing. We expect the worst and rarely let logic or reason persuade us that there is any other way to think about it. Then there's polarizing. We see the world as black and white, good or bad. There are no shades of gray. There's no in between. It's one or the other. It is a deplorable way to feel. And then, of course, there's limited thinking. And the more we tell ourselves that we can't do something, the more we believe it, the more likely is that we'll never accomplish it. Then there's always perfectionism. We begin to believe that good or great isn't enough and that we have to be perfect. And so we spend our time trying to perfect everything. And perfection is never, ever attainable. In contrast, high achievers tend to do better than their perfectionist counterparts, generally because they are less stressed and are happy with a job well done. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, stated, "Thought is always creative. It must always create after its own type. It must always give form to something, and the something to which it gives form is not a thing of itself, because the thought that creates the form is a product of the thinker. The thinker comes first, then the thought, and then the form. It is not enough to say that we attract what we think. We become what we think, and what we become, we attract." So we're all products of our thoughts. We are the creators of our beliefs, and yes, we are influenced by outside sources. However, it is our choice whether we let them mentally hang around or not. Isn't it time to stop shaming ourselves and return to a place of self-acceptance, compassion, and love? 2 Corinthians 4:2 says, "But we have renounced the hidden things of shame. By manifestation of the truth, we commend ourselves to every man's consciousness before God." Pretty straightforward, I'd say. 2,000 years ago it was written. I love the part about the manifestation of the truth. Believing the truth is always your choice. In every situation, conversation, and in those moments when we criticize ourselves, we do have a choice. We can stop our negative critical thoughts, or we can believe the self-imposed lies. Remember, the truth will set us free. It is not our job to believe in ourselves the way the commercials tell us to, or what other people say. We are enough just the way we are in this very moment. That doesn't mean, however, that we can't improve. What does it mean if we are not the sum total? What it does mean, however, is that we are not the sum total of our mistakes. And we don't have to stay living in our mistakes. We have the opportunity to share our story, and then we can move on. We can stop the never-ending loop that has mentally sucked us into what seems like a place of no return. Isn't it time for closure? How about a time for letting go? A time for getting better? Because we're not dead yet. So just how can we reduce or release our negative thoughts and return to the truth of who we really are? Here are a few things that you might consider trying. There's 4 simple steps for you. First, notice when you have started the pattern of a negative thought. Then acknowledge the pattern, name it, and tell it you want to change. Next, articulate what you want to do differently. Finally, choose a different positive statement. You know, we can be pretty mean to ourselves. Psychologists have recorded that about 90% of our self-talk is negative. Give yourself 3 minutes when that negative thought comes up to think about it. And after those 3 minutes, demand that the pity party is over. Release it. If it rises up again, identify it and refuse to allow it to stay by reframing it. Your awareness of it will help you reframe the belief. Writing sometimes helps us get clarity about those negative thoughts. Seeing it on paper or on a screen in words spelled out sometimes helps us move on. Don't forget to write down the why the thought is present. Instead of fighting negative thoughts, consciously reach for better feeling thoughts. After all, when we fight something, it tends to get bigger. When we try to stuff it or push it down, it doesn't go because it will resist and become bigger. A powerful way to do that is to speak out loud what you love, you like, and you appreciate. I love the way the coffee tasted today. I like the way the chair feels on my back. I appreciate the spring flowers in my yard. Maybe it's time to ask yourself some tough questions. What do I get from negative thought process? What's my reward for continuing with these thoughts? What do I love by engaging in negative thinking? What does it cost me to have these negative thoughts? What benefits do I receive by engaging in negative thoughts? What in my past made me think negatively? If you can find the answers to any of those questions, allow yourself to be with them, to acknowledge them, and then move through and change your behavior. Maybe it's time to use affirmations. Here are a few you might try. I love myself. I appreciate the people I work with. I am open and inspired. I am open to inspired thoughts. God's the love that I am. I think my favorite is focusing on gratitude. Gratitude is essential to a happy life. We become stronger as we reframe our difficulties by recognizing all of the good things that are happening in our life. Start each day before you even get out of bed by expressing gratitude for all the things in your life. Your dogs, your home, your car, the food in the refrigerator. It doesn't have to be big and magnanimous. And then at the end of the day, keep a journal. Go to the dollar store, buy a little tablet. Write 5 things you're grateful for that happened that day. It can be as simple as the fact that you got a phone call from a friend you haven't talked to in months, or that you had lunch with somebody else, or that maybe somebody gave you a hug. Express thanks for those things you are seeking to create in your life, because what we are grateful for opens us to receive and continue to allow that to come into our life over and over again. As religious scientists, we know about the body-mind connection. In our textbook, Dr. Holmes states, man's life in reality is spiritual and mental, and until his thought is healed, no form of cure will be permanent. We understand that health is mental as well as a physical state. We know that positive thinking has many health benefits. First, positive thinking increases our lifespan. My dad lived to 100. He was one of the most positive individuals I have ever known. Deeply grounded in his spirituality, he always looked for what was good in any issue or any situation. He also maintained a healthy sense of humor and was willing to laugh at himself. Positive thinking lowers our risk of depression. Anyone who has ever suffered from depression knows how easy it is to be caught stuck in a vicious, never-ending spiral of negativity. A sense of hopelessness feels constant. Depressed individuals see no way out of their circumstances, and so that spiral that I talked about continues. Our cardiovascular health improves when we are positive. More than one metaphysical health source has noted the connection between heart disease and the loss of joy and the presence of anger in our life. When we are able to look at a challenge or a stressful situation from a positive perspective, it changes our health issues and they greatly decrease. Fatigue accompanied by sleep issues can also get in the way of maintaining a healthy body. All of us have spent sleepless nights thinking about a job or a money issue or a relationship problem. The challenge, however, is when concerns overtake our whole entire life and there are more than just 1 or 2 sleepless nights. It's easier to get sucked into negativity when we're exhausted and unable to think clearly. This morning we began by understanding the true meaning of redeem and repent. While in the past many of us associated those words with sinner or wrong or a terrible person or demeaning, we now know that really it is none of that. To be redeemed or repent really means to have a profound spiritual transformation. Additionally, it means we have a fundamental change of our mind that frees us from distress and harmful thinking. We're enabled to overcome something detrimental in order to restore ourselves to that place of love and compassion. For many of us, we view old Bible words based on stories and lessons we learned as young children that colored our perspective of God, love, religion, and truth. With metaphysics as our guide, it is time to release old negative beliefs and move to a place of higher ground. It is time for us to release our inner critic and that terrible, awful accuser that points his finger at us. It is time for us to shift from the negative to the positive, and it is time for us to be compassionate with ourselves as much as we are with others. In the coming week, I would ask that you pick one thing, just one, that you're willing to do to let your accuser go, to be more compassionate and loving with yourself. I've mentioned many ideas. After all, everyone in our life loves us for who we actually are, not for who we think we should be. God isn't waiting for you to become thinner, smarter, richer, more spiritual, or less of an alcoholic or drug addict in order to love you. God will always be in a loving relationship with who you actually are in this very moment, deep within. Never forget you and God are one. And every day we get better and better, because we're not dead yet, and we always have space to grow. This is the truth in my life, and this is the truth in yours, and so it is. Amen.